This camera is live. This camera is live.
I got to get my party motivating on. Terry does such a good job.
I know you got to do the whole thing. You didn't have to quiet down this much. I got it. Went from a dull roar to nothing. You're welcome to chat during the show, and just not super loud. And then our restrooms are 1216 right down the hallway. The number is 1216. Kelsey's going to take some social media photos. Becky is our producer. Loretta is sitting in for Jerry, who's out sick. And then Sean is our technical director. Bridget, don't call me Bridget, call me Brigitte, is making breakfast. She's making fruit salad. We don't really trust her with egg sandwiches, so we ordered those from the Dahlia Bakery. No comment.
She's tuning you out.
She's tuning me out. Nothing new there. So we are going to run for about 2 hours, and Loretta will be our party motivator. She'll tell you when to clap. Loretta just had twins, so she's
Thank you.
She's walking dead right now.
If I fall asleep mid-segment, somebody just kick me. 10 weeks today. Thank you. Last night it was the 2.5-year-old that
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. She has Hercules, Athena, and Adonis. Her mother's part Greek.
I'm not allowed to refute this because I'm on company property. So he has naming rights on company property.
I paid for all of her schooling.
And you now get the benefit of that schooling at work.
How's
so
that?
I don't
You're
know.
You're having babies. How am I getting the benefit of the schooling? You ready for us, Miss Becky? My eyes are watering this morning. Must be the lack of wine last night.
No wine?
No, I had wine, but just not as much as I should.
Okay. I was about to say, whoa. Don't even know you.
I did just have one glass of wine. Super sad. Because I had a whiskey, and I'm on a 2-drink limit because I have to prove to myself that I'm not an alcoholic. So I was out practicing my putting last night, and the scotch did not help. Welcome to the Hot Stove Society Show on Cairo Radio. Woo! Coming to you live from the Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. We've got such a fun day planned for you. Chef Terry's going to be out for a bit, so Loretta is sitting in, my daughter, and our legal counsel here
Thanks
at the
for having
Tom
me
Douglas
back.
Restaurant. Absolutely. It's good to see you. 10-week-old twins at this point, right?
Yeah, we're emerging from the haze a little bit.
What's their favorite meal so far?
Milk with a side of milk, sauteed in milk.
Sauteed in milk, like a good bolognese sauce.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we're here from the Hotel Andra, a beautiful hotel on downtown Seattle, 4th and Virginia. Lots of our joints are right in the neighborhood. We record the show on Thursday mornings. Becky, our producer, is here today, and we record from 9 to 11. And we have a few people who decided to join us this morning. They bought a ticket on the hotstovesociety.com website, and they're going to get a delicious Dahlia Bakery breakfast sandwich today.
Getting ordered right now.
All right. And Dahlia Bakery loves it when we send over an order for 15 sandwiches.
I bet.
Yeah, at 9 a.m.
It's their favorite thing.
Peak time.
Line out the door. Oh, here's 15 more sandwiches. Tough noogies is what we say. We have a large class today. We also do many classes here at the Hot Stove. Cooking the Eucalyptus Cookbook with Chef Moshe Bassan, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago on a Friday, October 13th, is still available. Molten chocolate cakes on Saturday the 14th. And Drink Like an Italian. I do that just about every day.
I might need to pop into that class.
Yeah. The Amalfi region, Friday, October 20th. So I try to drink like an Italian. It's part of my modus operandi. That's
like a vaguely Mediterranean
you took
diet
Latin in school
or something.
Yeah, Mediterranean diet. Drink like an Italian.
And you're succeeding?
You bet. Just not enough. Just not enough. We've had a large show this week. We're sad to miss Terry, but he's going to listen to us, is my guess, on the radio. We're kicking off National Seafood Month with Ken Saunderson. David McFadden from the Port of Seattle is here, and Kristian Uri from the Fisherman's Finest, who has brought along some petrale sole from the Bering Sea, I believe, for us to cook today and talk about. And that happens to be your mother's favorite fish. She
One
loves
of
when
mine
I'm.
as well. I love it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of a fishy fish guy.
Oh, I like a mild fish.
I was talking with Jacques Pepin the other day. I'm just going to drop
just
that
casual.
in. Yeah, we were talking about bluefish, and I haven't had bluefish in so long, but that's a nice fishy
I don't know
fish
if
too.
I've ever had bluefish.
You might not have. We caught one on a boat off the coast or the Isle of Nantucket. You remember when we were?
So that was 23
We had a striped
years
bass.
ago.
Yeah, 23 years ago. We had a striped bass and a bluefish. Fine.
It's only aging me. Well, I guess it's aging you by
Yeah.
virtue of aging me.
We
but-
discuss our favorite ways to cook fish, part 4 of our series with Grace Lin. I am enamored with this book, and we're talking about right now. Maybe, we do a fancy New Year's Eve thing here at the hot stove, and we're talking about being inspired by Grace's book to come up with a Chinese menu. Her book is all about that, the Chinese menu, the history, myths, and legends behind your favorite American Chinese foods. So it's been so fun. And episode number 4 is today of 7. So if you haven't heard them yet, feel free to go back and listen on our podcast. She is awesome. We're going to discuss with Becky, who just has come back from Portugal.
And brought some tinned fish.
Yeah,
And it's all the rage. I finally went on TikTok. I was warned not to. And it was fascinating. And what it's done to some of these tinned fish businesses.
Is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One store, I think one group had 6,000 stores in Canada and the US. And after they had been shown on TikTok, they were 1,500 and they went to 6,000 stores.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And it's tin fish used to be what we, it's an old way of handling fish, and yet some people prefer that. It's a little bit like confit, right? We don't need to cook and preserve duck anymore in its own fat, but it's a taste profile.
And it's quite
Or
the trend.
Salt cod,
Yeah.
same idea. Charlie's is going to be here with Cultivating Fresh. Aimee Peters from First Fruit Farms joins us to talk about
Tongue
apples.
Twister.
I know.
First Fruit Farms.
I was at Met Market the other day, and the apple selection is daunting.
Glorious.
It's glorious, but it's daunting at the same time. You just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like,
what
are
to
you
pick.
making a crisp?
Yeah.
Are you making a baked apple for a salad? Are you making applesauce? It's hard to decide what to do. And then I had my first apple with your son, Hercules. I had my first whole apple in years the other day with
he
him at the
loves them.
farm.
He'll just put down a whole apple. No
Yeah, I
problem.
went and bought some afterwards because I just don't eat them like that. We discussed our favorite seasonal side dishes to wrap up the show with our Food for Thought Tasty Trivia. So much goodness. We have our taste of the week, and I think you and I are going to make a little argument out of it. Because
Shocker.
I know you always take your mother's side on this. She loves Marcella Hazan's bolognese recipe, and there's nothing that makes her more happy than putting on her apron in the kitchen, getting started with a few pounds of ground meat. This time she did a combination of buffalo or bison and beef and Wagyu beef. She did all 3 because we had a pound of
interesting.
each in the freezer.
Okay.
And she started off in the morning because, Marcella, she likes to cook it for hours and hours, and then she'll cook it for hours more. And there's nothing, like I said, nothing that makes your mother happier. But when you look at it, like I like a tomato sauce or something. So when you look at the bolognese,
It looks like cat barf. I mean,
it does
there's
look like
no
cat
way
barf.
around it.
Because it's been so reduced.
It's just, you got the graininess of the meat, and then Marcella
And the
puts
meat
in
gets really small.
Yeah.
You don't retain any big chunks because it's been cooked down so long. So it's
cooked
just
in milk.
that.
I think there's some milk in there, and then there's big chunks of carrots in there, and there's just something about it that
It
I
is
find
not the most attractive dish, but it is, I think, one of the most delicious.
So the
And
question
this
I
is where
have-
we.
The question I have, and Bridget would probably jump in on this too if she had a
if
sense
she was
about her,
allowed
but-
on a mic.
But bolognese or marinara? So she also made the very same day from fresh tomatoes from the garden, a marinara sauce. And I am marinara, and I'm a meat guy, right? But I'm marinara, which has got no meat, just a simple tomato sauce, 95% of the time. Bridget?
Bolognese and marinara do not compare.
What do you mean? You can choose to make one or the other.
But not all bolognese have tomato in them. Maybe they've got a
Yeah,
little
this
bit
one
of tomato.
this
They
one
don't
had
have any.
none. Hers
There's
has
no
none.
tomato. That's not my point. The point is, if you're going to make a
If
sauce,
you're having pasta with sauce, are you choosing bolognese or marinara?
What, are you a vegetarian, Tom?
no, that's my point.
It's bolognese
I'll take
all the
marinara
time.
every day.
You know what I got to say?
No, I
is-
don't.
Come on, wait. I'm going to say this anyway. So there is a marinara that I had. Michael Chiarello did it, and he did the marinara, and then he put chicken thighs in it and simmered them in the marinara
Yeah.
and made the tomato sauce.
He made
and then
bolognese out of
fished-
that.
No, he
Oh.
just fished those tomato thighs out and had those for dinner
Yeah,
with the
okay.
pasta. So in that case, yes.
I'm bolognese,
Marinara.
and part of it might be just the memory. Like mom has been putting on her apron and making sauce for 6 hours for my whole life, and
Mhm.
I was often there for it and love it. But I don't know, it just feels more special to me. I think I eat it less often. It feels like you've put this effort into making this not so beautiful thing, but beautiful tasting
Right.
thing. And I'm still benefiting from my family preparing meals for us in the wake of having babies. So I will milk that as long as possible if she brings bolognese over.
Yeah, if I'm going to have bolognese, I need a pile of Reggiano grated over top. And I like a little dollop of pesto or something just to brighten it up.
Yeah.
It's just a little dull for me.
Oh,
Well, I'm so
Wow.
sorry,
Hot
Marcella.
take.
Wow.
Marcella, rest in peace. I'm so sorry, but that's just the way I feel. We're going to kick off National Seafood Month, and coming up is the director of economic development at the Port of Seattle over there at Fisherman's Terminal, where I hang out all the time
With Hercules.
with Hercules at the Bay Cafe. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society, 97.3 FM.
Loretta, that's so sweet.
I know. I really do just have such good memories of making it.
Hello, David.
Good morning.
You're right on it.
I hope so. I've had several cups of coffee already this morning, so I think I'm ready to roll.
Awesome.
David, have you been on the show before?
No,
No.
first time.
Are you new in your position?
No, I've actually been at the port for about 8 years now.
Ken, who did we have last time from Fisherman's Terminal? Ah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kristian, we're going to go with you in the second segment. You know that, right? I thought those were your knuckles. Is that fun? You know it was. She's looking at me like, is that all there is? Is that all you got?
Think about any
All set? Ready. We are back here at the Hot Stove on Cairo. Chef Terry's out for a few weeks. We're wishing him the best of health. Loretta Douglas sitting in here.
Thrilled to be here.
Good to be here. Good to have you. Don't tell any secrets that I don't want told.
No promises.
Okay, fine. David McFadden, Managing Director of Economic Development over there at the Port of Seattle, is here to join us on the mic. Welcome.
Good morning.
I think Fisherman's Terminal is Seattle's best kept secret.
I totally agree.
Totally. And I don't even like to talk about it because I don't want people
Yeah.
out there as much as you probably do. But I just think that is an awesome place. And it's a Seattle historic, emotional with the big statue out there. It's just awesome place. I have breakfast there at least once a week at the Bay Cafe.
I'd agree. I think it's one of my favorite port facilities. It's just so special and iconic. You know, where else in Seattle can you see the working waterfront and really feel where we came from? that history is still alive and well. The terminal is alive and well. It's got a bright future, and I just think there's a lot of energy, and it's a very special place.
It is, and I know it's special. I mean, it's really super important for our fishing industry, right? The boats, the net sheds. I mean, everything that works there. But it is just a piece of Seattle. It's the very first port project.
It feels so unique, I think, down there.
It is unique, and we're so proud of the facility. It is our first facility we ever built, and it was purpose built for the fishing industry. And 100 years later, it still is that home port for the fishing industry, and we're bullish. We're very excited about maritime. We think it's really an important industry for Seattle. Yes, it might have be a little bit behind the cloud of tech and other exciting industries, but it still is an anchor, for the regional economy.
Yeah. Loretta and I went fishing with Captain Keith, and there's a lot of tech in fishing too, man. He could tell us exactly where those fish were under the water. I'm sure the big fishing boats have even better
even
equipment.
more, yeah.
Unbelievable advances in technology on the vessels today. We've gone from generations of wooden boats to now advanced technology vessels that fish finding technologies, but more than that, really technologies that help them harvest the fish and get the full value out of what we're catching from the sea.
I just spent a weekend or a day there this past weekend. I believe there was the best little fall festival down at the Fisherman's Terminal, and it had so many kids activities. There was a giant blow up pirate ship that my toddler went crazy for, and it's just so fun. Like, I love how much programming is happening down there. It sounds like maybe there's plans for more and more development down there.
There is, and we were also very excited about the fall festival. It's been several years since we've been able to put that together, and literally saw dozens of port staff and volunteers show up, and it was just a wonderful time. So,
everybody seemed super happy to be there, and I got to chat with a few people at the port booth, and it was lovely.
Yeah, it's great, and we are making pivotal investments to make sure Fisherman's Terminal is vital into the future. Everything from rebuilding and repairing our docks to developing a brand new maritime innovation center, which we think is really going to help anchor and sustain the maritime industry going forward. So, if I counted it up, I'm sure we've got over $100 million investment in the pipeline to make sure that Fisherman Terminal remains vital for the next generation.
The most poignant thing out there, and I often check it out when I'm walking young Hercules around waiting for breakfast to be cooked at the bay, is the memorial out there, the Fisherman's Memorial. And it brings tears to my eyes every time when you start reading the names and you see the bouquets of flowers and just the pictures of the fishermen and the tragic end that many of them have had out there on the water. It's a dangerous business.
It certainly is, and it's really, I think, the heart and soul of Fisherman's Terminal, paying tribute to generations of fishermen and fishers that have really helped, again, sustain our economy, but put a lot of food on our plates for generations. And so, paying tribute to the people that have unfortunately lost their lives or invested their livelihood in that industry is really important, and we're very proud of that memorial.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm inspired to head down there right after this.
Yeah,
it's been a long time, and
it's a great time to visit, because I was just there at the crack of dawn the other day, and all the fishing boats are back, and they're all working on their gear. So it's that
liveliness,
live activity where you can really still see what's going on in the industry.
When you see a net shed, like there's many big kind of steel buildings that have net shed A, net shed B, or whatever the markings are in it. What's in there? Is it literally just fishing nets?
It's a lot of fishing nets. Yes, mostly. Years ago, we might have had some other things stored in there. We may still have a few odds and ends, but they're really purpose built and mostly dedicated to the fishing community.
So they come back and they wash them and clean them and then put them in a stack on a pallet and put them in the shed, huh?
Yes, and I think some of the height was related to changes in the nets. It used to be cotton and needed higher
I see.
Oh,
draws,
interesting.
to better facilitate drying out. At least that's what I've read in the history
Right,
books.
right.
That makes sense to me. But yes, there's still a vital accessory resource to those fishers.
Interesting.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Innovation Center? I'm
Sure.
super excited, and it
Yeah.
sounds like something I would definitely take the
Yeah,
kudos to. And
it really came out of a planning for the future of Fisherman's Terminal, probably 7 or 8 years ago, where we were looking at what do we need to do to revitalize this terminal and make it special going forward. And we saw that there's this old ship supply building, and it was damaged during the Squally quake. And we were thinking, well, we need to somehow, someplace, develop a maritime innovation center, because innovation will be key to that industry going forward. And lo and behold, we started looking at that. Wouldn't it be cool to take that iconic old facility and turn it into a state-of-the-art new facility that's going to help anchor the fishing industry? So it'll bring together academic partners, government agencies, the private sector, all to support entrepreneurs and ideas that can go towards helping the fishing industry, but helping the broader maritime industry move forward.
Will there be a public aspect to it as well?
There will be. We will probably have tours of the facility. The facility will be available for meetings around the industry in a broad sense. So yes, it's going to be a very special facility. We're building it to a living building challenge, which is one of the highest
Exciting.
sustainability
Really cool.
standards that you can do. It's going to be a showpiece. Yeah,
So fun. If you get down there, Chinook's, in my mind, is one of the best family restaurants that we have in the whole Northwest. It's so much entertainment while you're trying to get them corralled into a booth for dinner. There's a little peekaboo, like crow's nest, up on top of Fisherman's Terminal that I think you can get into with your help.
that's right.
You have to call you first.
That's not accessible unless you know somebody.
Right. And there's the Highliner Tavern. It's a lot of good things to do down there. So go down and enjoy. And just, if you want, pull up, there's a side road that goes through the terminal and out over into northern Magnolia, and just pull up and park there by the boats where they're working on the fishing boats. It's super fun to spend the morning and watch the sunrise.
And what I want to come back to is you had asked what some of the investments were, and I talked generally, and specifically about Maritime Innovation Center, but we're also going to be totally redoing the signage and putting a lot of interpretive signage up
cool.
to really better tell the story of Fisherman's Terminal, both the past, but also what's happening there today.
That sounds great.
Super fun. Kristian is here from Fisherman's Finest, and he's going to show us what he brought. He brought some petroli sole, and we're going to cook some and talk fish. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Thank you. Thank you. It was quick.
Yeah,
I feel like I never get enough time.
Yeah. Oh, does it? Good.
I'm on the board of the Fisherman's Memorial.
Well, we've already talked about it, so tough nuggies.
Yeah. But we have our big annual benefit
And it's
auction-
over.
benefit auction coming up on November 14th. And
That we can talk about.
What we do with that is we raise funds to educate the children of fishermen lost at sea.
Wow.
And so it's 27. It's based on the University of Washington.
Save it for
Save it.
for the
He's
radio.
going to make you save it.
Okay.
Oh man.
Kristian, listen to me right up here next to the mic, and then listen to me back here. Okay. You have to be right up there.
Okay.
Even you are not close enough when you're
Okay.
talking. Let's see.
Yes, fourth largest in the state of Washington. And truly woman owned. It's not like she's got one woman and 99 men. It's
Awesome.
one woman.
That's so cool. Okay.
Like the airport.
What?
Well, all those businesses at the airport have to show minority ownership or women-owned ownership, and so they hire or they ask people to come be kind of their woman, and then they
The
pay
poster
them.
child.
Yeah, but it's really got nothing to do with running the company. So he's making a good point there. Let's just have a lot of butter.
Butter's always good.
You guys want to try some salt? You know you do.
Becky, while I'm thinking about this, a friend of mine has a new cooking show coming out on PBS.
I'm going to hand the pan to you.
Mora. It's called Wish Homemade. I can get you his email, but I thought it might be you might want to come on and stuff. Really? Oh wow. And you're okay. Great.
Look at him.
Wow. That's
Look at him, Loretta. He
awesome.
looks fine.
Yeah.
You look rested.
Look crazy.
How's your
Well.
bank account?
Yeah. Well,
That part's not great.
I educated all my children, so my bank account's a little bit sparse. Yeah. No grandkids yet.
How old are they now?
29 and 32, and the 32-year-old was on the Great Wall of China yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
she's
is so
she's
cool.
a go-getter.
Are the triplets same sexes? or-
Two identical girls and a boy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That well,
He probably benefited.
he did, but mostly from the sisters beating. You know how girls are always bigger than boys
Yeah.
growing up. You know, the sisters running interference for him if anybody gives him a hard time.
Sweet. That's cute. Yeah, I have a 2.5-year-old boy and then one of each.
Okay, for-
Twins,
For
so.
a free jar of rub, can anyone tell me what I'm doing here? What I'm making right here?
A root.
You gotta hurry. 'Cause it's not over.
Yes.
Huh? Brown butter? What's the French word? Word and what is that? Oh, wow. Okay, who got the brown butter? You got a free jar of rub at the gift shop. After the show.
I feel like we're like a museum with a gift shop.
Huh?
I feel like we're a museum with the gift shop. Visit our museum gift store.
Okay, so I got the butter super hot because I want to get my soul just a little bit of color before it overcooks. And because it's so thin, you don't have much time, so I start with a very hot pan.
I mean, do you have?
And it also has a delicious flavor. I use my fish taco rub.
I'm very curious how this is going to be with brown butter and fish taco spice.
Well, the fish taco spice is mild chilies and
But it's limey.
lemon
Ooh.
and lime essence. Okay, so what am I going to do now? And fish is only that thick, so I'm going to take it off the heat and let the residual heat finish cooking the fish so I don't overdo it.
Oh, it smells good.
I'm not questioning if it's going to be good. I'm saying I would not have thought to do that.
You were questioning.
Wouldn't dare.
I've been cooking for a long time, Kelsey. Tell her.
Did you put the rub with love on both sides? Would get a little too strong or what?
Yeah, it's just a very light flavor fish to begin with.
Looks awesome.
I like Soul because you can have dinner on in like 3 minutes.
It's so fast. All right. Loretta, the hater, doesn't want this. You guys can have it.
How is it?
Real super sweet.
Uh-huh.
All right. That's for you guys. Don't forget to give Kristian some too, Loretta. Probably never had sole before.
Never, never. Fish 4 days a week my whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
All right. Bridget, will you plate that up for us? Thank you. Ready, set?
Yep.
I got to get that. I'm salivating now. It's a problem with eating breakfast during the show is like, especially that lemon powder. It really makes you.
Yeah. It's your
Yeah.
salivary glands.
We're back here in the kitchen at the Hot Stove, the lovely Hot Stove Studios at the Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. Thank you for joining us. We are having a discussion about and celebrating National Seafood Month this whole month of October here on the show. We've done this for how many years, Ken? Maybe 9 years now. Yeah, it's super fun. We enjoy it. And this segment, last segment, we learned a bit about the Fisherman's Terminal. This time, we're going to talk to Kristian Uri and talk about Fisherman's Finest, a fleet of fishing boats. Female owned, you said?
Yes. Miss Park is the owner of Fisherman's Finest. We're back when we built America's Finest, a new vessel for our fleet. In 2019, we were the 4th largest female-owned business in the state of Washington.
Wow.
So we built that vessel up in Anacortes. So Washington built, Washington employed. Very good, well-run company.
I don't think people realize how much work it is for one boat, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people it takes to kind of.
Yes, believe
Make
it
a
was
fishing
600,000 hours of labor to build that boat,
Uh-huh.
and tons and tons of steel, and all built using Northwest labor.
Right. But then you still have to operate the boat. You got to get the fish. You got to pack them, sell them.
Correct. Yes, we're it's a 24-hour-a-day operation. We got 130 crew at sea at any one time. We're freezing hundreds of tons of fish per day per vessel, and feeding the world.
Yeah.
How many are in your fleet now?
We have 3 vessels, 2 older vessels. That's a whole story in itself. In the age of the U.S. fishing fleet is aging out. We took the step to build a new vessel, like I said, in 2019. But the 2 older vessels, one was built at Marco, Seattle, right down the street from Fisherman's Terminal. I grew up in Fisherman's Terminal, so I know that area intimately. I'm there every week. at least. And then, so American number 1, 160 feet, built in 1979 at Marco. U.S. Intrepid, 185 feet. It was an oil supply ship that was converted in the Northwest to go fishing, and she was built in 79, converted in 87.
Wow.
And then our new vessel, 2019. So a whole nother story is that we need to increase or build new fishing vessels so that we can have 2019 or 2023 technology as opposed to 1979 technology as being the state of the art in the U.S. fishing fleet.
And competing in the world of fishing.
Correct.
Right?
We're
So,
competing on a worldwide marketplace, and
Yeah.
the rest of the world invests in new fleets. And unfortunately, due to economic constraints and regulatory constraints, we don't build new boats in the United States. It's very hard to build a boat here.
Interesting. And
Stumped you. You want me to?
So you said before during the break that you eat
where I
fish
was
4 times a week.
That's how I was
How do
raised.
the boats even keep up with you?
Yeah, right. No, my father. So I grew up in a fishing family. I went to sea from the time I was Bering Sea from the time I was 4 years old till I was 29 years old when I got this job working for Miss Park. And in that time period, I mean, fishermen feed people. That's what we do. And whenever we would come home from a trip, my father would always make the rounds to all the relatives and neighbors and friends, and you hand out fish to everybody. That's just part of the program. So that's just a fisherman's mentality. We go out, we take care of family and friends, and feed people.
Nice. Well, you brought us a little treat today. Some petrale sole. I think you said it from the Bering Sea.
Well, from the Ballard Market. I had a little short notice on getting the fish,
that's
but
fine,
but it's a fish, type of fish that we catch in the Bering Sea.
How do you go after that? Because that's a bottom fish,
Yes,
right?
we fish with trawl and trawl nets.
So that's a net fishery.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we have, like I said, the 3 vessels, and they fly describe a net to you. You have doors that go down that basically spread the net spread the net. Spread the net through the water, open it up, and then it goes through the net into the cod end. It's pulled back up aboard the boat, dumped into the stern of the vessel, and then it gets processed aboard the boat. So it's sorted by species and size, comes forward, then is headed and gutted, packed into 20 kilo or 40-pound pans, and then frozen within 4 hours of coming out of the ocean.
Wow.
And we fish 75% of the time out of Dutch Harbor, Alaska, 25% of the time out of Kodiak, Alaska.
Huh.
So are you fishing for multiple species at the
Yes,
same
multi-species
time? Okay.
groundfish, 22 different species of fish in the
Wow.
in the year.
So if you're trawling, how much do you end up putting back that's
By
not what
catch?
you're looking for?
Oh, well, so our one you were mentioning earlier about the technology aboard the boat. So we have amazing technology to be able to see what type of fish are
Or
beneath
below.
us.
Wow.
And two, we take and go into new areas where we might not know what's there, and we do test tows to make sure that we're not bringing up things that we don't want. And our fishermen
And
are
what don't you want? I mean, what,
we're
like
limiting
endangered
species,
or just a
limiting
non-
species for us are halibut, because halibut needs to be caught by hook and line by
Okay.
regulation. So we're not able to take halibut. Codfish is actually a limiting species of ours, even though it is a trawl species. You need to have so much in your repertoire of fish in order to bring up your yellowfin sole and your rockfish and
I
so
see.
forth. So you have to balance all that. It's a really the professionals in the wheelhouse that go out and come up with the tows and prosecute the fisheries in the most efficient manner possible. They're really professionals.
Mhm.
My hat's off to them. It's a lot that goes into having a successful operation, and our guys are the best.
And certified sustainable, I'm sure,
Correct.
and all that kind
Yep.
of thing is so important these days.
Correct. And the whole thing about Alaska is all fisheries. Basically, if you are eating a fish that's a product of the USA, it's a sustainable fishery. And people don't always realize that. But then you've got MSC, Marine Stewardship
Sure.
Council certification and so forth above and beyond those things. But yes, if Ms. Park always says that if we're not good stewards of the resources, we're not going to be in business. So we are the best stewards of the resources that have put us here. I've worked for the company. I'm in my 27th year. We've been in operation going back into the 60s, and started out as a crab fishing company, turned over to trawl in the 80s and trawl and longline, and have been here ever since. So,
And you were talking during the break about an event you guys have coming up.
yes, I'm on the board of the Seattle Fisherman's Memorial, and the whole interaction between my life and the Port of Seattle is amazing. The Fisherman's Memorial is based at Fisherman's Terminal. I have been in Fisherman's Terminal every day of my life every week at least of my life from the time I was a toddler. Grew up in that between that and Pacific Fisherman's Shipyard. And the Fisherman's Memorial holds an annual benefit auction, where it's our biggest fundraiser, where we raise funds to educate the children of fishermen lost at sea. It's a wonderful, worthy memorial, and it's just amazing to see what we can do for people who have had some hardships due to the industry. And the memorial itself, I've got like 5 family members on the memorial. It's it's just an iconic part of the terminal. And it's really, you were mentioning it, go down to the Bay Cafe or Chinook's, my favorite restaurant, Chinook's. And Chinook's also hosts this event for 34 years now. They go above and beyond to do that for us. And when it comes to educating the children, it's not just $500 or something, like $27,000 per year per student to educate them, so that the hardship that they've been put through by the loss in their family is covered. We also do community outreach in an annual memorial for those lost at sea. The first Sunday in May, we have a service down in Fisherman's Terminal at the memorial. And then we just hosted we're beneficiaries of the Seattle Fall Fisherman's Fall Festival. Get that straight. Last weekend, which was an amazing, amazing event. Everybody was happy. It was everybody from the who's who of the fishing industry down to all the little kids down there making fish prints and building boats and so forth. So,
Well, I got you. I want to go back to your catch, though. You said
Yes.
you get 22 species or so.
correct.
And oftentimes when you go into a fish store, especially groundfish. You see sole, you see halibut, which is not really a groundfish, although it sort of is.
Right.
What's we always call them the chef treats when we find a little cut on the beef, like the skirt steak or something that you don't see in the butcher counter very often, but it's really a treat to get.
Well,
So what's the fisherman's treat
Cod
that
tongues.
you keep? Cod tongues.
Yeah.
Tell
Cut
me
out
about that.
You cut out the bottom of the codfish, and it's a meaty piece of fish right out of the bottom. So if my father were to ask somebody to do him a favor, bring me a box of cod tongues, frozen cod tongues from the boat.
And how do you prepare them?
Butter, just like we just saw him prepare the just butter, saute it, delicious, unbelievable. Different, very much different texture from the rest of the fish.
So is it like a cheek that has that different texture? Is
Correct.
Is it similar to the cheek, like the halibut cheek, where it's just got a little how would I
It's like
describe
stringy,
it?
or it's
A little bit
I love that
stringy,
texture.
but
Yeah, maybe
certainly more firm than a fillet.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cod tongues.
Wow.
Okay, we're gonna have to try that.
Yeah, no
Why
kidding.
not?
Yeah.
You know, that's an amazing thing about cod. It's been every part has been used forever.
Right.
Whether it's terra masalata in a Greek deli or whether it's beautiful poached cod on a plate with lobster nage in Paris, France. I mean, every part of that fish has been used forever. So. Salted bacalao in Spain. You know, there's a million things. So.
And I think that's one of the best things about fish is there's so little waste when we're talking about a animal product that you can eat. Seems like there's such minimal waste comparatively.
Yeah, and if it's a managed fishery, it's a sustainable fishery, and so which is something that you love to see too.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kristian Uri, for joining us. And look for the Fisherman's Finest brand. Are you branded?
That is our next step, is to get some sort of a retail brand out there. Everything we sell now is wholesale, but it is going to be, there will be America's Finest, that's our vessel name, or Fisherman's Finest product out there someday. And I just like to end by saying, I'm just every day thankful to make a living in this industry. I love this industry, and I love what it does for our community and also for the people who I've brought into the industry and make a living in this industry. It's a really good place to be.
Absolutely. And what was the date of the Fisherman's Memorial Auction?
Oh, it's November 14th.
Okay.
Fisherman's Terminal, Chinook's Restaurant. Chinook's, the Anthony's family of restaurants are just wonderful supporters of the Fisherman's Memorial.
All right,
Awesome.
cool. Okay, up next, we're going to rejoin Grace Lin from our series on her book, Chinese Menu, The History, Myths, and Legends Behind Your Favorite Chinese Foods. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
That's beautiful.
So do you want to do your video now, or do you want to do it at the end of the show? Now? Okay.
Hopefully I didn't stay too far from the mic.
Oh, I think it was good.
No, you're good. Anytime it was a problem, I just went in.
Wow, I just like lost all thought there for a second. That tells you how much sleep I'm getting. Oh my God. I was like, and short it out. Yeah, it's 2.5. Yeah.
No, I have it over here.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
My wife's funny story is the UPS guy. Are we going back there? Or
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick picture with you.
UPS guy comes up and
That's awesome. I really am. And honestly, I mean, I can't imagine adding a third, but it has not been as bad as people prepared me before. It really hasn't been bad at all. I'm sure we'll get there, but yeah. Yeah.
Usually, yeah, that and I get it in the grocery store.
I swear to
Standing
God,
at the fish counter.
I walk in here, I'm like, I know this guy. This guy should be coming over for dinner or something.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready when you are. So I'm making a little brown butter or beurre noisette, as Chef Terry would say. And I take my sole, and because it's in such a thin fillet, I really want to get the pan nice and soft. I want to get a little caramelization before the fish is cooked. So there goes my sole fillet. Pan. Beautiful fish. Listen to you. This man caught the fish. That's why. Okay, Brittany, can I get a plate, please? And so, really, all we have to do is worry about getting that caramelization. I put a little bit of my fish taco spice on there, which is 4 mild chilies and a little lemon and lime essence. And as soon as I get this fish is going to cook in about a minute. So 30 seconds on one side, a little bit of brown. So the key here is to be a successful fish cook. Now I'm going to turn my fire off. I'm not even going to leave the fire going during my backside cooking because my pan is hot enough to finish the cooking with the residual heat in the pan. So I can just kind of feel when this thing is, so you can see my burner's off. When this thing starts to calm down, then I can feel. I need a bigger plate, please. Dinner plate. Okay, now I just wanted to stop cooking because I still want a little translucency in the center of my bowl. All right, here we go. Okay, so if you want to try and get in here with this. Now, this is going to continue cooking as it goes to the table. So, but you can see, I just want a little bit of translucency. See how that is not white all the way through? Just kind of a little fall into it. That's when you know that the fish is still moist in the center. That took me a minute to cook. And you got a timer on there. That was a minute and a half, right? Yeah. Enjoy your fish. Don't overcook it. Let the heat of your pan do most of the work rather than trying to baby it. Here's the cooking fish.
Thanks much.
My pleasure. Good job, Jen.
Always a pleasure.
So good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't worry about mine. It's short. Yep. All right. Now we're going to go for Grace. Okay. I'm going to do a short intro. Let her out. Listen up. Welcome back to the Hot Stove Society Show. We're going to continue our series with Grace Lin, The Chinese Menu. It's the name of her book, The History, Myths, and Legends Behind Your Favorite Foods on the Chinese Menu. So this has been so fun so far. If you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, just go back and podcast. You'll be able to see it on the podcast and listen up because she is awesome.
So awesome. And if you get a chance to see the book, it is a spectacularly beautiful book.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's listen in.
right, we're back here at the Hot Stove Society Show. I'm Chef Tom Douglas, and we're continuing our series on Chinese menu, a new book written by Grace Lin. It's the history, myths, and legends behind your favorite foods. This week, we're going to talk about the history, myth, and legends of soup and soup noodles, hot and sour soup, bird's nest soup, wonton soup. There's so many classic Chinese soups that we're used to seeing on a Chinese menu. And maybe Grace can tell us a little bit about the history, myth, and legends of some of the soups.
Sure, I'd love to. Soup is such an important part of Chinese cuisine. Traditionally, they didn't have any beverages on the table at a Chinese dinner. It was the soup that was considered the liquid that you would drink to kind of wash your food down. And so that's why soup, you'll notice like every Chinese menu, they always offer soup. And so it's been a really important part of Chinese cuisine.
Okay, so let's jump into some of the most famous ones. Hot and sour soup. What are people getting when they get that, and why that?
Well, hot and sour. Well, hot and sour. Once you've tasted it, you can never forget what the hot and sour tastes like, right? So hot and sour is got a very interesting backstory to it. It was made by a man who was not considered Han Chinese. So it kind of has a little bit of a backstory there, but mainly it was kind of used as a medicine.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like it probably started out medicinal.
Yeah, it was this magistrate who was ill and he was sick. And so this chef made him this soup, and it made him sweat so much and so badly that the next day he felt well. He felt like the soup had made him sweat out his sickness. And so it became this soup that people ate when they were ill with the hopes that it would make them feel better. And
it's thickened with cornstarch and sometimes egg, right?
Yes, nowadays. I'm not quite sure what was thickened with traditionally, like the first ones, but I do know the very important part was the hot pepper. Like that was the hot pepper to make you sweat.
All right, let's jump into bird's nest soup. I think that's what a lot of Westerns of culture people feel is so exotic. Bird's nest soup.
Yes. Now, if you go to a restaurant and you see bird's nest soup on the menu, look at the price tag. If the price tag is affordable, then it's probably one of the new kind of, I would say they've learned how to make like a pasta that's a bird's nest. So it's like a fake bird's nest. Right. But if the price is astronomical, then it's probably a real bird's nest, because the traditional bird's nest soup is made from a real bird's nest. And that is because it was discovered by in ancient times when a ship was led astray and was kind of stranded on this rocky island, and all the sailors were kind of starving, but the commander of the ship said, I know there's food here. And he saw these swallows flying. He's like, follow those swallows. Wherever they go, there's food. And so they followed the swallows, and the swallows had gone into this cliff and really high up and into the kind of caves. So he ordered his men to climb up these little tall cliffs and get the food that's up there. So they climbed up, and the only thing they found were the birds' nests. So they took the bird's nest, brought it down, and they made it into a soup, and they ate it. And they ate it, and they actually found it quite delicious. And not only did they find it really delicious, after eating it, they were really invigorated, and they were able to have enough energy to continue on to the journey and get back home. And so that's why this bird's nest soup has kind of had this mythology around it. People started believing that if they ate this bird's nest soup, it would give them a lot of strength and vigor and the supernatural vigor. So that's why a lot of people ate it.
It's interesting that in many cultures, like especially I would say the American culture for chefs, is to take something and kind of run with it. You will just add this and that to it, blah, blah, blah. But the traditions are so strong in Chinese food that you almost don't mess with anything, right? If bird's nest soup was good 2,000 years ago, it's better be good enough for you today.
Though they have found ways around it to make it less expensive.
All right, wonton soup. That's another very popular dish. I love it myself. When I would sit at a little place in our market, Pike Place Market, called Saigon Over the Counter, and when you ordered wonton soup, the wrappers were stuffed right at that at that moment, right? They're not sitting around. They're not frozen. They were fresh wontons, and I just love them.
Yeah, wonton soup has a beautiful story behind it. So we call it wonton soup because most of the Chinese chefs that came here were from southern China, and they were Cantonese, and so they pronounced it wonton, which we transliterated to wonton. But actually, if you look at the actual Chinese words, the actual Chinese characters, you could also call it hundun, and that is referencing the creation story of the world, the Taoist creation story of the world. And so what wonton soup is basically the Taoist creation story. So according to the story, it's that before there was anything in the world, there was just this soup, nothing. There was nothing except for this messy broth. And that's what the soup of the wonton is. It's supposed to symbolize the nothingness that was here. But slowly, after millions of years, something began to congeal in this soup, this white round thing. And that's what the dumpling symbolizes, this white round thing that began to congeal in the universe. Now, the Taoist story continues where this white round thing was actually an egg. And inside this egg was a giant. And after this giant became so large, he broke through the egg and he pushed the top of the egg above him and he pushed the bottom of the egg below him. And he grew and grew and grew for another like millions of years until finally the top of the egg and the bottom of the egg could never, ever join again. And after that was done, he fell over and he died. And they say that the top of the egg is the heavens and the sky and the heavens. And the bottom of the egg is the earth where we live. And everything that is alive on the earth came from this giant man. So one of his eyes became the sun, the other eye became the moon, his teeth became the rocks, his hair became the trees. And what really gives you the heebie-jeebies is that all the fleas on his hair became the animals of the earth. So that's the wonton soup story.
That is quite the legend. Your whole book is about the history, myths, and legends of your favorite Chinese foods, and that is quite the legend. All right, so we're going to continue our series with Grace next week here on the Hot Stove. The book is called Chinese Menu, and you can find it. When is it going to be released?
It comes out September 12th.
September 12th. So that's already out now, and we're so excited that you are taking the time to kind of go through chapter by chapter with us on this book. So we'll be back with it next week on the Hot Stove Society Show 97.3 FM.
You have a favorite on the tin fish? Yeah, octopus is really good. They're all better than I was expecting. I always think of canned fish as being a little cat foody and a little bit. That's what they did because they couldn't get it to the market fresh, But it's just not true. It's now a real art to it. So
a lot of cat food today.
Let's talk about that. If you're all done with those, I'm going to take them back over so I can read the labels. I think they're done.
There's a couple at Trader Joe's that people swear by.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, I'd like to get a little close-up of the kinfish when you have a second for our YouTubers.
Bye. You want your bag? Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
See ya. Becky, this is all you.
Oh, me. Okay.
Well, we're here, but
Yeah.
I'm going to let you, you're going to lead this one.
All right.
Did you get a panorama of this? Is that possible? Here, Here we are. We're back in the Hot Stove Kitchen on Cairo Radio. Time for hour number 2. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're in your kitchen or your car or your garden or somewhere having fun with food while we chat along here today. Loretta Douglas, our legal counsel here at TD Restaurants, is stepping in for Terry for a few weeks. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, are you excited to be here? What do you love about the show the most?
I am thrilled to be here. I've been kind of itching for the opportunity to participate a little bit more. So unfortunately, Terry's ill, and I'm sorry that that's the opportunity that it took, but it's been really fun to be here a little bit more the last few weeks. And I'm looking forward to continuing. I think it's just a fun show. I get to talk about things I love. Obviously, I grew up in food, but I don't come from a chef background the way that you and Terry do. So hopefully we can talk a little more normal people.
Mere mortals.
Normal people food. I also am cooking for little kids right now. So I like quick and easy things. So it's just fun.
Absolutely.
And nice to come in and get all these treats.
And I get a break from my kids. So it's perfect.
Perfect.
Becky, our guest producer, is here, and you brought us a little treat back from your trip to Portugal.
I did. It's a tin fish topic. I love the New York Times food section. And I came across an article recently about all the hype of tin fish. And I remember listening to you did a tin fish segment, I don't know, maybe over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I was interested. And then when I was in Portugal and I saw this tin fish, there are literally stores that are they're beautiful and they're displayed nicely. They just opened one in Manhattan. So I saw this article and it kind of fascinated me. And I went on TikTok for my first time and went down the rabbit hole of there are new cookbooks about tin fish. They're having charcuteries, actually seacouterie platters. There's tin fish subscriptions. There's now even a plant-based tin seafood. Flavors like mushroom, snow crab, celery root, whitefish. It's just kind of fascinating. I'm wondering if it's a trend. I mean, I know tin fish has been around for 100 years, and it's I've always loved salmon. I'll make salmon cakes with canned salmon.
Oh yeah.
Yep, no problem. I mean, fresh is best.
Why would you do such a thing?
Well, sometimes you're home and there's nothing else. There's nothing fresh, and you got to dig in the pantry and put things together.
There you go. All right, so let's go over this. I mean, one of the cool things about tin fish these days is that there's like a competition on packaging.
Who can make it prettier?
It's the best.
It is so cool. So that's part of what would work really well in a store that
it's
focuses
beautifully
on
displayed.
tin fish. Yeah.
Yes, very colorful.
So it doesn't necessarily mean good fish inside those. So is there a trick to finding that?
Well, I talk to the store purveyors and get their opinion, what's their top sellers and what you like. I mean, some people, what I brought today was mussels, or it's a fried mussel and smoked, a classic tuna, octopus, and sardines. Anything else?
Yeah, mackerel.
Mackerel, yes, that's right. I love the tin fish, but I really prefer like the cod you just cooked. I like that texture of a real fresh.
Yeah.
But we don't always have fresh fish in our pantries, but we can always have this.
Absolutely.
And the other day I pulled out one that was prawns and I had an avocado, put those together and I had some sprouts and it was
some of the tin prawns.
With the tin prawns and they had beautiful olive oil in it. And that's the thing with this. You can buy tin fish for $2 or $20, but I really look for olive oil instead of a canola oil or something.
I've even really given up on canned tuna packed in water. I only buy it packed in olive oil.
Yes. You just get so much more for it. And if you're putting on a salad, you use that olive oil and it's healthy and delicious.
Now, one of the things I noticed in the product that you brought, there's no bumblebee.
No, no, this is
sun-kissed.
Yeah, this is all high end. But again, I probably paid maybe $4 to $15 a can.
Is that US dollars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I loved about what you brought here, not only are they gorgeous, I mean, some are even more gorgeous than others. This can of octopus is, I mean, it doesn't get much prettier than that. But they're preserved generally at the top of the quality. And we talked a little bit about that with in the last segments, coming off the boat where the fish is frozen within 4 hours. These are canned in somewhat the same way.
Pretty amazing. Just like we've talked about fruits and vegetables, frozen strawberries or frozen blueberries are frozen at the peak.
Yeah.
And so that's a really good point. So I wanted to ask you, like, what kinds of things would you make with this at home, or what kind of ideas? I mean, other than like the salmon cake or.
Right. Well, oddly enough, on some of these, mean, when you take some of the packaging off, you end up with a tin. There's a couple that where the tin is actually decorated itself. And so when it's decorated like that, I might put that out if I'm putting out some salami, some Beecher's flag sheep or something like that, and then a tin of the octopus in that gorgeous tin. I would definitely try that.
As
like
kind of
anything,
the centerpiece of
as
like
the centerpiece,
a
yeah.
charcuterie board.
So like
yeah.
anything, though, I would always buy 2 cans and try it to make sure it's worthy of your charcuterie board.
Good
right?
advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's only a few bucks, but you don't want to put out something that you don't know about. Like you bought these at a gift shop, right? So you don't really know
Right.
until you open and try them if you actually like them,
Right.
right? Because they look beautiful. It doesn't mean they taste good. So that's what I would do. I would always buy 2, try them out. The canned tuna, God, it just begs for a niçoise salad. And or as Chef Terry would make me say, niçoise. He said you pronounce the S there. That would just be lovely right now with caramelized pumpkin or any sort of earthy fall vegetables. Fresh pickled fennel would be delicious with that, with any of these.
What about pasta? Or is it too similar of a texture?
No, it would be fine with pasta. I probably would like make a puttanesca with it, where I'm putting some anchovy or spicy chilies or something to go along with it. Yeah,
Adding that umami and
I use tinned tuna to dress up like a store-bought puttanesca sometimes and add in a little bit more flavor, when I'm trying to get something quick. Add some capers and some tinned salmon and season it up. And
great tip.
always wherever you can take a shortcut, I'm all about it as long as it's quality. So
Right.
that's really the key.
those smoky mussels, I think, just on a really good piece of toast too.
Mm.
I mean, you don't even need to do a ton with them. I'm so surprised that those are fried and smoked and then tinned.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, what's
Well,
the point?
one of the reasons you do that is just like in Chinatown when they do a wok seared crab or something, they always take the live crab, they chop it up, and they cornstarch it and drop it in the fryer to set all the
Oh.
juices and the meat,
Huh.
and then they wok sear it, right, so that you don't have all of that running around in your sauce. And other Chinese people like that wet sauce with all the
Yeah,
guts.
interesting.
But that is one of the reasons. So my guess is one of the reasons they do that with the mussels is to set them, then they can smoke them easier. And it's really difficult to shuck a raw mussel
Oh,
and to deal with a raw mussel. So
lose the brine. And
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
so
I wonder if that's why they stay so plump.
Yeah, they're
and
so
beautiful
perfect
like
looking.
that.
Yeah,
They're not,
exactly.
The
you know,
texture was great.
because they're cooked first.
I also
Interesting.
saw some beautiful pictures of it was a sardine, herby butter on a really crisp or charcoal grilled piece of bread. It looked really
Uh-huh.
pretty.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could freeze that stuff too.
What you said there is probably the key. Charcoal grilled piece of bread. It changes everything.
Do you know
right?
who I learned that from?
Let me guess. Chef Terry.
Don't give him the credit.
No.
Well, it's such a lovely treat to have you bring all these in, and I feel special coming all the way from Portugal.
Yeah,
I
I was thinking of
know.
you. Well,
Yeah, you and Chef Terry and everyone I know has been in Portugal this summer,
I know. I've heard it. I've heard it.
and you didn't see anyone you knew there. That's
I did not run into anyone.
that's shocking,
Yeah, it is.
considering how many people have told me that they went or are going.
Have you found any great places for them in Seattle?
The tin fish, not yet, just
Okay.
online.
I was just thinking Chef Shop probably has a great
Chef Shop has a
selection.
great, so does De Laurentiis has a
Okay.
great selection
Okay.
of them. All right, apples. We're coming. Oh nope, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, apples with Aimee Peters from Charlie's Produce on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show.
Do you need to do your
Oh, she's on Zoom?
coming up in the second hour lead in?
I didn't, but it's okay.
Okay.
Ken, you're out next week.
Thank you, Ken.
Ooh. It's more fun than here. Bona?
What the heck?
That's a cow, baby.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
it's gonna be great. My wife is.
That highway there. People die on that highway doing the Ironman. Dakota? Like a moonscape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait till you fly in. You'll see.
It's crazy.
Yes. I'm having my 30th year there this year. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I'll see you in a couple weeks, but we'll-
You'll be tan.
Interested and ready, baby.
And you're going to be the only one doing the Ironman with a walker.
I know. I'm going to be over the volcanoes. Hey, Betty.
Thank you, Ken.
Oh, we have Fisherman's Finest and First Fruit Farms. Oh, like all the F's
Yes.
today.
What the F?
Do we have a meet?
Aimee?
Or a
Aimee.
meet?
Aimee.
It's not up yet?
I was so bummed when I get the information from Laura like Monday, Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
and I said I'm a recovering over planner, so I'd love to get that information like a week or two in advance. It doesn't come, and then there was Zoom. I was like, ugh. What do you do?
What are you going to do?
What do you do?
How does she-
10:15, and I asked her to come on 5 to 10 minutes early. So,
We're just
Close.
a little ahead.
well, I said just to figure out all the technical stuff, get on early.
You pre-interviewed her?
No,
That's-
I just got her name.
Oh, you just got her name?
No. Do you know Laura Sever? Okay, so she said we're going to try to get together. And
She's awesome. Anyone that can deal with Charlie as long as she has. Come on. We're just waiting on it. I don't see it on here. Okay, here she is.
awesome.
You guys have a favorite tin fish? Mussels? See, that is something I would never, ever
Yes.
buy, but I tried it and I liked it.
Interesting. Okay. Put it in the pantry.
It's probably just somebody else's. Yeah.
Oh, I do for fun.
How was your breakfast sandwich? So good. Did you get a little mustard on there? It's my favorite. Perk it up.
Any questions for the chef? For the chefs?
There's only one real chef here, Bridget, and that's you, Brigitte.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
What's my favorite thing to do with apples? Well, I'm a little bored with apple desserts other than apple tart tatin. That's my favorite apple dessert. But I love kind of stuffing them with dates or something savory. Roasting the apple in a half. Take the core out, just roast it, salt, pepper, and olive oil, and then for the last 2 or 3 minutes, put a little chev in the center and maybe some chopped dates or something, and then make a salad around that. So a little roasted apple salad. To me, that's it's just you just don't see it very much, and it's a lovely way to eat them.
Take it safe. Any other questions?
Green cherry tomatoes. Yeah. We're just mowing down ours over at our farm, too. My wife takes them out long before I think she should, because there were some red ones in the compost bin I wasn't very happy about.
Would they ripen on their own on the counter?
I don't know if they'll ripen on. I would think so. Regular tomatoes ripen. If you're trying to get them ripe, a brown paper bag and a banana is probably your best option. Yeah, but still, it still might work if you're trying to ripen them. If you just want to use them as green tomatoes, they're too small to fry. So I make a green cocktail sauce for my crab cakes. So they would be good in that way. Fresh horseradish, a mustard seed, lime juice, and pureed either tomatillos or green tomatoes. So that would be fun. A green tomato chow chow. So a chow chow is like a sweet and sour relish. So onion, green tomato. What else is around right now? You could use last of the season corn, but it's a great little condiment for a salmon burger or something that is chicken burger. Depending on where you're headed with the rest of the meal. But a chow chow it lasts for a long time in the fridge. It's just a fun way to use up a lot of ingredients. Green tomato jam, green tomato pie. Stacy, our baker, makes a beautiful green tomato pie. So wherever you can use green tomatoes, other than say, like the buttermilk fried ones with cornmeal, because they're too small. But any other recipe, generally, I would think would work. Mm-hmm.
They make the green tomato jam at the Palace and serve it alongside the burger. Really good.
Oh, I thought you said she was on.
All right, we're going to do another segment, and then we're going to see. Maybe she's expecting us to call. Double check Aimee or spelled.
I know. No.
Jump off now. That's okay. Because you have Sean. Wonderful. Bye. That's okay. No worries. No worries. Okay, great. Bye. Aimee. She said it didn't populate her calendar. She was so excited. Note to self. With a Zoom. I'll call right with that.
Hard, man.
Well, it's my first time. Fun. It's fun.
Yay!
I'm so sorry about that.
No problem. The audience members were starting to boo you.
Not
Oh,
true.
no.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
So, Aimee, you are you can hear us fine, and we can hear you fine.
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
All right.
Great.
You are on YouTube, our YouTube channel with us. So just so you know, you're on TV.
Fabulous. Hopefully I'm doing the camera justice.
You bet. All right, here we are back in the kitchen at the Hot Stove Society Studios in downtown Seattle. Aimee Peters is going to join us. She is the business development manager for Fresh Fruit Farms. And we're going to talk apples right here on the show. As you know, Charlie's is with us every week. If you ever want to follow their truck, you can follow them right to one of our restaurants. We've been working with Charlie's for 1,000,000 years, and he's not even that old. So yeah, exactly.
Just you.
Aimee, tell us about Fresh Fruit Farms and what you do for them and what your finding here in the marketplace right now. I was at the Metropolitan Market the other day. There must have been 25 different apple varieties going on right now. How do people choose?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. First Fruits Farms is an apple grower shipper out of Washington State. We're kind of right outside of Tri-Cities in the Walla Walla area. But we've been around for, 40 plus years, growing apples and supplying them across the US. So we've been in production since 1980. And yes, there are a ton of apples in the market. And I'm fortunate enough to represent First Fruits that grows them all. So there's what's called core varieties, which a lot of people are familiar with, and that's going to be your Honeycrisp, your Gala, Fuji, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, all of those ones that we all grew up on. But really, in the last 10 years is what we've seen attack. So a lot of apple growers and shippers out of Washington State, as well as the East Coast, have what's called these proprietary varieties that they develop and sell specific to them. And so First Fruits has our own variety, which is called the Opal apple. And that is a yellow variety. It's been in the market for about the last 10 years. And the great thing about it is it's crisp, it's sweet, it's tangy, but when you cut into it, it's naturally non-browning. So, you always talk about putting lemon juice on your apples so they don't brown in your kids' lunch boxes. Well, this naturally non-browning apple is one of its own in the market. So to answer your first question, what do I do for First Fruits? I am with our customers, educating them, building programs to ultimately benefit the end consumer of our apples.
Super fun. I always found it interesting that people were more than willing to buy apple juice that's completely brown, and yet are so freaked out by a little brown, oxidation on their apples themselves.
Good point. I wonder if this Opal apple is going to.
I get it though. I mean, I think if you're trying to put out like this beautiful charcuterie board or something like that, and you want it to look pristine, having an apple that doesn't brown like that, I can totally see
You can do it ahead of time. You don't have to wait last minute. Yeah. When are we going to be able to get these delicious Opal apples?
They're out.
They are.
Yeah.
I missed it.
I saw them in the market the other day.
Okay. Going to the store.
So Opal apples are seasonal. They are just hitting markets now. So we're in the midst of harvest. They're still coming off the trees, and we're getting them on trucks into your local grocery stores as fast as we can.
When I was at the store the other day, I said to the guy, the produce manager, I said, which apples are new crop apples? And so for me, I was just trying, I have a farm in Prosser. I see the apple trucks going by I can drive 5 miles and I'll go buy 12 apple semis. Which apples are new crop? And he said, well, they all are. So I went over and I looked, I said, well, these 3 apples varieties are from Chile. How can that be new crop? And he just looked at me like, nobody's ever challenged me on this before. And so it made me wonder if they really were all new crop. So is there any way to know?
There may be. So one example that you mentioned is, if obviously it's from a different country, those are not going to be new crop. Those are going to be old crop from other source locations. But if you're seeing Washington grown apples in your stores now, you can almost guarantee they're new crop varieties. New crop starts harvest in August, and it will continue on for a lot of suppliers and shippers through the end of November. But once we kind of start seeing that cold weather, we're hoping that we better wrap up harvest and all the fruit is off the trees.
Well, I have a question. I'm not a chef. And what is the difference between new crop? I understand the difference, new crop, old crop, but what would the taste difference be? Why would I care?
Well, to be quite honest, that's what's great about apple shippers. We have this really great cold storage, zero oxygen or low oxygen storage that allows us to take apples off the tree today and potentially store them up until 12 months from now. And once we take it out of that storage, they're going to taste the same as they do today. So really, it's going to be quite difficult to notice a difference in taste. But it's more of the excitement around the harvest that this just was picked off the tree yesterday, and now it's on a truck arriving in your grocery store and you're taking home tomorrow.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. And then you talked about storage. How would us home cooks store our apples?
Oh, yeah. So the best way to store apples is obviously you want them refrigerated right away. The longer that they stay cold, the better that they'll stay crisp and last for a week at a time. But in terms of temperature, your refrigerator is the right temperature for it to be at, which is around 30 to 35 degrees. You do want to keep them bagged up. And what that will do in your refrigerator is if you have other produce next to it, it won't allow for that kind of oxidation to ripen the apples. And so when you put fruit next to each other, it kind of speeds up that process. And so if you separate it within bags, that will help it last as well.
Thank you. Makes a lot of sense.
Apple growers in our state are responsible for a ton of efforts going towards our food banks and food banks around the country. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, so we love this question. We love helping out our local communities. And one way that we do it is through a program called Take a Bite Out of Hunger. It's a program that's been in place for the last 13 years. And we have great partners like Charlie's Produce in the Northwest area that allows us to execute this program. And what it does is, as Charlie's Produce is supplying independent retailers throughout the Northwest, for example, Metropolitan Market, they receive a percentage back from us to donate fresh apples to a food bank of their choosing. So the program runs from January through March. And we chose that time specifically because food banks get a lot of donations during the Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, and we wanted to target a time where actually donations slow down. So once we get through that March period, we calculate how much the donation will be, and then Charlie's Produce will actually choose a food bank. We get to deliver the product, and we get to work with the consumers who are actually picking up the product and getting this fresh apple into their diet.
Awesome. Great job. We've been talking with Aimee Peters. She's the Business Development Manager for Fresh Fruit Farms. Thanks, Aimee, for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and hope everyone looks forward to local apples in their stores.
You betcha. I'm going to make something with local apples in our next segment.
I'm going to try an opal.
Fall side dishes on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society show, 97.3 FM.
Nice segment.
Thank you.
Good job, Aimee.
Oh gosh, thank you. Anything else you need from me?
We're all set. Appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Okay, bye.
I don't know if we're going to talk about it. Celebration of National Hispanic Heritage Month. I theme the trivia on that.
Oh, good. All right. Well,
He'll do great. I kind of been listening to people making the questions a little bit easier because I've heard that people enjoy, like I used to do, enjoy answering, seeing if they could answer the question.
Like answer along.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to keep that in mind.
totally.
so then next week's show, we should really focus on Hispanic heritage.
Well, we have a guest coming.
Good.
We've got Gabriel Chavez. Met him. He's
Yeah.
a great guy.
Yeah.
From coming over from Mexico. And family, I think. Worked with Renee Erickson. Been speaking with the boathouse, dishwasher, and washer.
Oh, I miss
Listen
Boathouse.
constantly to a baseball game, window and then executive He's got a heavy accent. So hopefully it'll be great. He's charming. He's smart.
Great.
Hardworking.
Cool.
Lovely.
All right. Loretta, do you have some thoughts on this? Do you have any thoughts on side dishes for the fall?
Well,
My apple salad.
I just think there's so many herbs still in my little container gardens. I've been going out there, the chives, the parsley, the end of the basil,
And doing what with it?
probably like orzo or quinoa.
Okay, so good. So yes, you do have some ideas.
Sure.
I have 2 recipes I made recently.
Okay, good. All right, here's the Hot Stove Society segue into fall. We're happy Terry's on leave right now, so we're happy that Loretta Douglas has jumped in the mix here today.
I need a chance to hang out with my lovely father.
Oh, that's the
that's so
nicest thing she's ever
sweet.
said to me.
Aw.
We're excited to have you. Bridget's going to step in sometimes too. You
Yep.
can step in, but Brigitte and I, we fight a lot, so we have to limit our interaction. She's more classically trained than I am, which means that she's often more wrong than I am.
More wrong. Great.
Easy now. Let's talk some fall side dishes. You know, we're getting into some of the things we just talked about. Apples. I have some ideas on apples. Have you been making anything for the fall?
I have one recipe I look forward to making kind of every fall, and then one that is newer to me.
Can I just say, when you said you have a recipe, can I just let people know that I have 4 cookbooks out in the marketplace, and when I have my daughter over to my house to cook, instead of using one of my cookbooks, she brings out her phone and walks around the kitchen with the phone in front of her face, cooking. And it's like, honey, I have a cookbook right over here. But
maybe
no.
you should get with the times and get some things
Oh,
online.
there's a shot.
One of these is from a paper book, traditional book, and one of them is an online recipe. So the first thing that I just made is a Smitten Kitchen recipe, which is like the original food blog. I'm sure everybody knows it, but her recipes are just like so tried and true and tested. And it is a zucchini and rice gratin, which I'm butchering gratin, and Terry will be very disappointed in me sitting in his seat. It's cheesy. It's using the kind of the ends of your zucchini that you have in your garden. I just picked my last one. So that's kind of my end of summer, early fall. It's super delicious. I served it just with a really simple steak. It kind of hits the veggie and carb balance for me, and it really hits the hidden veggies for my
I was going to say,
father.
does it do the trick to get Hercules to eat zucchini? Yeah.
Absolutely. And then every year I wait for fall for Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are my husband's like absolute favorite vegetable, and I don't let him eat them outside of the fall and winter.
Thank you for a good reason.
Because there's so much other stuff to be
Yeah,
eating
and
in
we
the
have
spring
6
and summer.
months of them coming up.
But I love them. We look forward to them. And I think the best Brussels sprout recipe is out of the Jelena cookbook, which is a really beautiful restaurant in Venice. But they do these
Venice Beach.
Yeah, California. Sorry. But they do these beautiful Brussels sprouts, bacon, some apple cider. Speaking of apples in there, they're crispy, they're braised, they're saucy. They're just like my perfect, comforting, warm, delicious side
Well,
dish.
crispy and braised doesn't necessarily go together. So are you saying that you braise them and then deep fry them?
You
or
roast them.
You roast them.
And then you make a kind of braisy sauce, I guess is what I mean, and then pour it around. They're tangy with the apple cider vinegar in there. And
so am I the only one who's sick to death of deep fried Brussels sprouts with balsamic glaze?
No,
That's on
I'm also sick to death.
every menu in the
which
world
is why
right now.
I love this recipe.
I don't like them fried.
Yeah.
I like them roasted.
Yeah.
Or
What are some side dishes that you've been doing this fall? Or
well,
it's just beginning.
It is just beginning,
Yeah.
and I have little container gardens for herbs, and I still have basils looking great, and so I've just been.
Man, mine is just toasted. It's all gone.
Yeah,
So
maybe
bad.
mine are a little bit in the shade.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I've got parsley and sage and chives. And what I love to do is I can't remember who, it was a lemony orzo, and it had tons of herbs in it, a little mint, and then mozzarella cheese. And I've adapted that. I've kind of gotten away from the orzo and I do more quinoa, or even buckwheat's good, or farro. And I just butter, lemon zest always, lemon juice, and then urban. And what I love about it is you can serve it room temp, or it can be cold,
or warm,
or it could be warm, and you could put fish over it or in any side protein. But I just love all the herbs.
Mm-hmm. The herbs are the key there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever tried roasting your orzo or your farro first?
Toasting it first.
Toasting it.
So you can only do that with something that you don't have to rinse, right? So do you have to?
No. You can do it with
you
farro.
can rinse and
You
then
can-
toast.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have not. So tell me more.
I haven't tried toasting quinoa, but certainly orzo, you just get it out of the bag or the box, put it on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven at 400 degrees,
Mhm.
and just let it get a little bit nutty brown.
Okay.
And then you just boil it up like you would orzo.
So it's like bread.
Or
It's
you
gonna
can
be
just
toasted.
toast it in butter, in your pan. If you're going to cook it in a pan, I often just put
Oh, that
couple
sounds easy.
tablespoons of butter and toast it in there until it gets like nice dark brown, and then I add in the stock or whatever I'm going to cook it in.
To cook it. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I'm trying that.
So good.
That sounds
Right.
great.
And you can do that same thing with couscous, especially the Israeli
pearl
style.
Israeli
the
one,
big-
yeah.
the bigger, the little tiny couscous is a little bit more difficult.
That's
but
I was thinking quinoa probably wouldn't work.
I don't know.
I'm going to try it and I'll report back.
I can't think of anything that wouldn't be lovely toasted.
Mhm.
That's just
Everything's better toasted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Brings out the sugars and caramelizes it.
I was telling you earlier about an apple salad. This is what I've been doing lately. I did a couple here at the hot stove. I teach a lot of classes here at the hot stove. One last night, one tomorrow night, and I just take an apple and I try to find a smaller variety, like the pink ladies or something that I can take my. It's the only other thing I really do with my melon baller is like core apples, and so I make a nice little well in them, dress them with olive oil, salt, and pepper, put them in a hot oven, 400. And you have to pick an apple that's not going to disintegrate. Like, how Granny Smiths, people often think, well, I bake with Granny Smiths, right? But this isn't where you want that. You want an apple that you can roast, but will keep its form. And then as soon as it's tender enough to cut with a fork without it, knocking it off your plate, how they want to slide off. But as soon as it's a little bit tender, pull it out, put in your little chev or more salt and pepper, or a little chopped date or prunes or something, or a combination thereof, and put it back in the oven for 5 minutes until it melts, or 3 minutes, and then build a salad around it. Pickled cucumbers, arugula, the last of the summer tomatoes, pickled green cherry tomatoes that you're trying to get rid of. All those little things make it a great little composed salad, and then just drop the apple right in the middle, and you've got a beautiful fall
Still
salad.
warm?
Still warm.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Beautiful fall salad. So.
When you had your conversation with Jacques Papin, I listened in earlier this week, and he's promoting his new cookbook.
How did I do?
You're great. I mean, it just went too short, and he's so charming.
Oh my God.
It's what, 35th or 6th cookbook? And what I loved about your conversation is talking about the economy, and he's pretty cheap at heart.
He really is.
Yeah, and I love
that's-
that.
Yeah. His whole book is called, if you read the subtitle on his book, what's it called?
It's called Cooking My Way, Recipes and Techniques for Economical Cooking.
Right.
And he told a story about, you asked him how he came up with his recipes. And he told a story how he had a plan to do an artichoke dish for a recipe. He goes to the store, it was too expensive. He said, I'm not paying that for that. And he found something that was on sale, and then he developed his recipe around that item. I thought that was.
Or when the other thing that you can do in grocery stores is they're always kind of pulling older produce off and putting new produce on. And you
Mhm.
just say to the guy, what are you going to do with those artichokes that kind of have the brown leaves?
Mhm.
And he says, well, we're going to throw them away. So, well, sell
Wow.
them to me. And he said, well, you can have them. And he ties it up, puts it in a bag, and gives it to me. And just tell the cashier that I said, blah, blah, blah. And so what do I care if the little leaf is a bit brown? I'm
Absolutely.
after the heart,
Yeah.
right? And so it's still perfectly good, the heart.
Mm.
And so you just never know. And sometimes they do the same with the ripe produce. Like their pears are too ripe, so they pull them because it's not how the set works in a grocery store. Those are the pears I want, are the ones that are too ripe, because I want to cook tonight. I don't want to wait 3 days for them to ripen up. So
get to know the produce person in your grocery store, and it's a win-win
Yeah.
for all.
it's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it
it
really is
saves-
huge.
Saves the composting.
Yeah.
So what other, did you guys talk about any sides? I think you talked about meat and
We talked about a lot of things. It's when they asked me if I would do this for Jacques' book, I, of course, jumped at the opportunity because I've known Jacques for many years, but we don't get to spend any real time together because he lives on the East Coast and I live here, and he speaks French. So he likes talking with Thierry more than he likes talking with me. But we had a ball. It was an hour long, and it felt like it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I would say the number one thing for me with Jacques is that he just tries, when you look at the comments of when people watch his video online, he just draws them in. He's just got a lovely way about him that is not intimidating. And he explains how easy everything really is if you just kind of let it be.
Yeah.
Don't make too much of a big deal. And also, he likes hot dogs.
Exactly.
Who knew?
Yes, you asked him if he was like Terry and wouldn't go to fast food, and he's like, I'll eat anything.
I'll eat
I'm a
anything.
glutton.
Yeah,
I love
exactly. Egg McMuffins and hot dogs.
There you go. But I don't think you two talked about any side dishes for fall. But
I don't know if we did or not. We talked Terry and I last week or 2 weeks ago talked about a tian, making a tian into a fall tian.
I learned a lot on that one.
Which is sliced vegetables kind of layered on top of chopped onions and then just roasted in the oven. And, fennel, squash, green tomato, whatever it is that you want to layer in there is a beautiful fall side dish.
Yes.
Sometimes, like your mother, Loretta, she tears her garden out too early. It makes me
Oh,
twisted.
really?
She works so hard at the garden all year long, planting seeds in January and February in the greenhouses, getting them into the ground by Mother's Day, babying them, nurturing them, watering them, doing all this stuff. And come October 1st, she's done.
She's over it.
There's still ripe tomatoes on those plants you're tearing out. She's, I'm done. And then she
She's over it.
takes a little rest, and then by December she's buying seeds again
Yep,
and
back
getting
to
ready
it.
for the whole process.
That's
So.
awesome.
All right, it's time for
Food for thought, tasty trivia.
That's right on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Glad we got him in there a little bit.
Yeah, good call.
I want to look at that book.
Oh, sure. Oh,
Oh, no, not me. No. Still do it.
Don't leave us hanging. Don't make us beg. If you don't do it, Bridget will do it if you're uncomfortable. Bridget loves to do it if you're uncomfortable. So,
Nervous, but I'll try.
Give me
all
a
right.
fighting
Why don't
chance.
you and Bridget
Don't let
do it
Bridget
together?
do it.
She'll hold your hand.
All right.
Be careful.
Talk close up.
Yeah. Okay,
Wow,
Bridget,
good
you're
job.
on.
and what is your name?
Andy,
And where are you from, Andy?
I'm from
Bridget,
Grand
give me a
Washington.
chance. Give me a chance. Okay. Yeah.
No. The two of you against Loretta and me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Give me some hand. Give me some hand
Thanks for the
signals.
help.
You'll have it.
Okay.
Becky has assured me that she's not trying to
You
just
got it
sink
down
me
then,
today.
He's scared.
Yeah. He ran
He's going to
scared.
study.
And I've heard it before, so it doesn't really matter if you get them wrong.
No, there's no penalty.
Right.
We changed the rules
boo
this
you
time,
off
though.
stage.
Oh, you changed the rules?
Yeah.
No.
So whoever answers, make sure you answer to the mic, right?
Sure.
Okay.
You wanna come up?
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sean, you ready? Didn't he say 2 seconds?
No, he
Said yes, sir.
Oh, I thought you said 2 seconds. Here it is. It's time for Food for Thought Tasty Trivia on Cairo Radio. Finishing up our show. We're here every week. Come join us. If you're not, you can always catch our YouTube video online or our podcast, the whole show, when you're driving somewhere. Or as somebody told me the other day, she runs with me. So I'm glad.
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad one of
nice.
us is running.
That's
I'm
great.
golfing with you, so
No, that's
she runs with me. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Rub with Love trivia is. Let's do that again, Sean DeTore. If you could fix that for me. Tasty Trivia is brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs from my own warehouse and rub factory in Ballard, Washington. It's good on meat, poultry, or vegetables. Need some inspiration? We have videos on our website, tomdouglas.com, or Hot Stove, or Rub, or wherever. We have lots of videos. Kelsey makes them all right over there. And so you can go find those online. You can also find us at great retailers like Skagit's Own Fish Market in Burlington, all 15 locations of Hagen Foods, from Bellingham to Olympia, or Sprouts Farmers Markets in Seattle and Mill Creek, amongst many, many other stores. I know Bartell's just bought a bunch of our 3-packs, so look for those as Christmas presents.
Perfect.
Why not? Mhm. Becky, do you want to tell us how to play the game and figure out how I'm going to win?
I'll do my best. So we have 3 teams here, and one team of Bridget and our guest Andy and Loretta and Tom. Each of you get 5 questions, and whoever answers the most correct is the winner.
Yay!
And this in honor of celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. I've themed this all Hispanic. And in addition to National Seafood Month that runs October 1 till the end of October, Hispanic runs from the 15th of September to the 15th of October.
And next week we have a few guests, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be exciting.
Yes. Okay, Loretta, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. In Cuban cuisine, what is the name of the classic sandwich made with roast pork, ham, Swiss cheese, pickles, and mustard?
Really?
A Cubano.
Really?
Yes!
Oh
I told you they'd be a little easier this time.
Perfect.
Number
I
2.
love it.
Which Mexican sauce is primarily made from chili peppers, chocolate, seeds, and spice?
Mole.
You got it.
Mole.
Oh, thanks.
That's a little trickier.
I had a mole burned off the other day. It's very exciting.
Ew,
We don't want to hear that. Monfongo is monfongo a dish, a spice, or a cooking technique?
it's a dish, but prepared in a specific technique.
It's actually a traditional Puerto Rican comfort dish made from green
Yeah.
plantains. They're mashed and mixed with pork
pork.
cracklings.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
super
she said
Okay,
dish. Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay,
But
perfect.
Bridget cheated, so we
I know,
can't
that's-
take one
that
away
was
from
right.
that. Yeah.
I was just watching a video on how to make mofongo the other day.
Oh, you
or else
did?
I never would have known.
That's wonderful.
I
That's
believe I
wonderful.
had it at La Cabana up on, or La Cabana up on 105th.
Right, with empanadas or something.
Mhm.
What traditional Hispanic dessert is made by frying dough and then coating it with sugar?
Churro?
You got it. You got a perfect score.
Churro,
So,
yeah.
oh, I don't know what that is.
We can't hear you if you don't talk to the mic. Sean, can you fix that for us?
Sopapilla.
Sopapilla. Okay, final question.
Okay.
What is the name of the Peruvian dish made with thinly sliced raw fish or seafood, typically marinated in lime or lemon juice?
Ceviche.
Perfect
Yeah.
score.
All right,
Awesome.
now
One
Bridget.
of my
job.
all-time favorite foods.
Is it?
Aw.
Mhm.
You know, Peruvian ceviche is very salty. It's very much done with salt more than lime juice, it seems like to me.
I love it. I like that I find it sometimes a little bit spicier when I have it at Peruvian restaurants than it is when I have it other places. I like that. little
Interesting.
heat.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, we
Bridget's
got
chomping
Andy.
at the bit over here.
We got Andy and Bridget. First question. What is the name of the traditional Mexican dish made by grinding hominy corn into a dough, often stuffed with various ingredients like meats and vegetables, then wrapped in a corn husk before being boiled or steamed?
That would be a tamale.
You got it, Andy.
Ah.
Good job.
Hey, Bridget does masa masters classes
I know.
here at
Well,
the
I
Hot
didn't know she
Stove,
was
so-
going to be helping our guest,
Oh,
but I don't
you
think he
did the
needs it.
question.
Yes, yes. What is the name of a drink made of wine and chopped fruit that is widely popular in Spain and South America?
Sangria.
Nailed it.
Wow, Andy, way to go.
We're going to have to go into a tie-off, I think. Is locro a dish, a bean, or a cooking technique?
How do you spell it?
Locro.
I don't know.
They're stumped. It
What were
is
the options?
a dish, a bean, or a cooking technique.
Yes,
Cooking technique.
It is a traditional Ecuadorian soup made from potatoes, cheese, and often served cold.
So it's a dish.
Ah.
Interesting. Sounds
Ah,
good.
I think that's an X on that one.
Okay, you'll make it back on this next one. Which ingredient gives flan its signature caramel flavor? Cinnamon, condensed milk, or brown sugar? It's caramel flavor.
Brown sugar.
You got it. Good job.
Way to go.
Okay, last question. In Spain, what is the name of the cold tomato-based soup often garnished with cucumbers, bell peppers, and croutons?
Oh, my wife's favorite, gazpacho.
You got it. Okay, well,
Nice.
Wow.
4 out
good
of 5.
job.
Nice work.
Very good.
All
Andy, I
right.
noticed Bridget didn't help you a whole lot there.
He didn't need my
He
help.
didn't.
No, he didn't.
He was just being shy.
Good job, Andy. All right, Tom,
Mm.
you're up against your daughter.
Okay.
All right. Could you please explain to us the difference between Spanish and Mexican chorizo?
Boy, technically, I mean, to me, a Spanish chorizo is encased, but Mexican chorizo often is also in a hog's casing, and then it is air dried essentially, and whereas Spanish chorizo is considered fresh sausage.
So you wouldn't want to bring the Mexican chorizo in your suitcase?
No.
No, you got it. That's completely true. Which famous Mexican artist was known for her passionate love affair with food, often depicted in her paintings?
Frida Kahlo.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. Loretta, you getting nervous?
I was watching a
Oh.
special on her on PBS the other night. What an interesting lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are tostones? Tostones.
Tostones. It's
Uh-oh.
just like pizza rolls or something, aren't they?
That's Totino's.
I don't know. Testes is my guess.
Tostones. It's like the fried tortilla.
It's twice fried green plantains.
Yeah. I had that at La Cabana the other night too.
Okay. Number 4, what is the name of the traditional Mexican soup made with hominy, meat, and spices?
Menudo.
Pozole.
That's Puerto Rican.
Close. Pozole.
Oh, is that Puerto Rican? Menudo. Is that Puerto Rican or is that Mexican? That's Mexican. So pozole is one of my favorites. I should have got that.
Oh, well, it's okay. You're doing good. Final question. Who is the American chef, TV host, and cookbook author known for popularizing Mexican cuisine in the United States?
Well, he is a friend of mine, by the way.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
Of
we
course
were on
he
the
is.
Macy's Culinary Council together.
Oh, I remember
for
that.
15 years.
Wow.
Rick Bayless.
You got it.
Yeah.
Well done.
He's awesome too, by the way. He's a super nice man.
And a lot of philanthropic, just
Yeah.
like Jacques Pepin.
Yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of that. Well,
So sometimes you don't know when you see these guys on TV forever. You just don't know.
Mhm.
But Marcus Samuelson,
Oh.
they don't come nicer. Rick Bayless, Julia Child was awesome. Jacques Pepin,
Mhm.
some really nice people. Emerald on the TV shows.
I love to hear that. Well, Loretta, you are the winner.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Welcome back.
What do I get?
Andy gets to go to the gift
Bragging
shop.
rights on my
You,
behalf.
on your behalf, get 3 free rubs from our gift shop. Andy, thank you for playing. If you want to be part of the show, you can join the community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. or buy a ticket to join us in the studio here at hotstovesociety.com. The show is produced by Becky Guzak, the Hot Stove team. Sean McFadden is our technical wizard, and our talented editor at Cairo, which makes us all sound delicious with his music, is Sean Don't Call Me Del Torre. And remember, if you miss any episode of our show, you can listen on go to Cairo and go to the via. Let's try that again. Also, remember, if you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show in Cairo, you can listen via podcast. Just subscribe with your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening. All right. Way to go, Andy. Watch your head there behind
Now
you.
you get 4 rubs today, I think, right?
Oh, that's
Got
right. You
the
already
first
want a rub.
one.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, I just need quiet on the set for a minute while we do promos.